Waiting 10 years to start investing will cost you $1.9 million. You're not bad with money. You're following advice from a game that changed 30 years ago. And while everyone's selling you listicles, nobody's explaining what your purchases actually steal from you. Your 20s feel like financial quicksand because you're watching everyone around you finance cars they can't afford, rack up student debt for jobs that don't exist, and somehow convince themselves that a $500 car payment is just the cost of being an adult. Meanwhile, you're wondering if you should be doing something different with your money, or if you're destined to join the ranks of people who complain about being broke while simultaneously paying for 3 streaming services they don't watch. Here's what nobody explained when they handed you your first credit card. The average 25-year-old today is making the exact same financial decisions their parents made at 25. Same car payments, same lifestyle inflation, same retirement thinking. Except their parents bought houses for $115,000 in the early 1990s that are worth $446,000 today. You're competing for those same houses at $446,000 while wages have barely moved. The game changed, the players didn't get the memo. So when you see advice telling you to just invest in index funds or start a side hustle, what you're really hearing is instructions for a game where the rules no longer apply. The S&P 500 just posted its 3rd consecutive year of double-digit gains, 23% in 2024, 18% in 2025, and everyone's acting like this is normal, like anyone with a spare $200 a month can just ride this train forever. But here's what the math actually shows. If you invest $625 per month starting at 22, that's the maximum Roth IRA contribution for 2026, $7,500 annually, and the market gives you a conservative 8% return after inflation, you'll have roughly $3.3 million by 67. If you wait until 32 to start that same plan, you end up with $1.4 million. Waiting 10 years costs you $1.9 million. That's the compound interest sermon everyone preaches, and it's technically true. But here's what they don't tell you. That calculation assumes you have $625 per month to invest. It assumes you're not drowning in student loans. It assumes you didn't need a car to get to work. It assumes your rent didn't increase 40% in the last 3 years. The advice isn't wrong. The context is missing. Most financial advice treats money like it's just math. Save more, invest early, avoid debt. But money isn't math. Money is attention. And every dollar you spend is buying or selling your future attention. Let me show you what I mean by breaking purchases into 3 categories that compound in opposite directions. Not 7, 3, because your attention span matters more than anyone's word count. Category 1, purchases that buy you future choices. This is where most advice gets it backwards. They tell you to invest in index funds because of compound interest. That's technically true, but psychologically useless. Here's what index funds actually buy you: permission to take risks. When you have $20,000 sitting in a Roth IRA, growing tax-free, money you literally cannot touch without penalty until you're 59 and a half, you know what that really is? It's screw you money for your 30-year-old self. It's the difference between staying in a job you hate because you need every paycheck versus walking away because you've got a cushion. The 2026 Roth IRA limit is $7,500 if you're under 50, $625 per month. That's up from $7,000 last year. If you're earning under $153,000 as a single filer, you can contribute the full amount. But the hard part isn't opening the account. The hard part is watching your balance drop 30% during the next market correction and still not touching it. The S&P 500 dropped 18% in 2022. It crashed 34% in March 2020. It lost 37% in 2008. The people who got rich from index funds aren't the ones who understood the math. They're the ones who could tolerate the psychological warfare. That's not a financial problem. That's an attention problem. Every time the market drops and you check your balance, you're spending attention. Every time you consider panic selling, you're spending attention. Every time you compare your returns to your friend who bought crypto, you're spending attention. The real cost of investing isn't the money, it's the emotional discipline required to ignore it. Same principle applies to what everyone calls side hustles. A side hustle isn't a purchase, but learning a skill that makes you money independent of your employer absolutely is. The question isn't, what side hustle should I start? The question is, what can I learn that makes me unfireable? If you spend $800 learning to code, or edit video, or write persuasive sales copy, or understand Google Ads, you're not buying a course, you're buying insurance against your employer's decisions about your future. Most people outsource 100% of their income to one source, their job. Then they're shocked when that source makes a decision that has nothing to do with how hard they work. Every skill you own is one less decision someone else makes about your life. Category 2. Purchases that eliminate future costs. This is where the car advice is right, but for the wrong reasons. Everyone tells you to buy a used Honda or Toyota to avoid payments. True. But the actual cost of a new car isn't the sticker price, it's the thinking space the payment occupies in your brain. A $500 monthly car payment isn't just $500, it's $500 worth of monthly choices you've sold to your past self's decision. Every monthly obligation you have is a decision you can't make. Can't quit your job to try something else. Can't move cities for an opportunity. Can't take 3 months to build something without immediate income. Can't weather a surprise expense without panic. Financial freedom isn't about having money, it's about having options. And every recurring payment steals options from your future self. Here's the test. Add up every recurring monthly cost that isn't food or shelter. Car payment, $500. Insurance premiums, $200. Subscription services you forgot about, $75. Phone financing, $50. Gym membership you don't use, $60. That's $885 per month. That number is how much freedom you're currently paying not to have. Over a year, $10,620. Over 10 years, if you invested it instead at 8% returns, $162,000.
That's not a car payment. That's a down payment on not needing to care what your boss thinks. Let me show you the math everyone conveniently ignores. $500 per month car payment invested at 8% annual returns. After 10 years, $91,000. After 20 years, $294,000. After 30 years, $745,000. The actual cost of having a car payment in your 20s isn't the money you pay, it's the money you never invested. Buy the reliable $12,000 Honda Civic, drive it for 10 years, invest the difference. Not because you're cheap, because you're buying attention back. Category 3. Purchases that expose you to asymmetric upside. This is the category nobody talks about honestly. Travel, real estate, education, books, experiences. Everyone tells you these are investments in yourself, which is technically true and completely useless. Here's what these actually buy you, when done right: access to randomness that favors you. When you travel, you're not buying memories for Instagram, you're buying conversations with people who think differently than everyone in your zip code. Some percentage of those conversations lead to opportunities you couldn't have predicted.
When you buy real estate young, and yes, this is insanely difficult with median home prices at $446,000 nationally, you're not just betting on appreciation, you're exposing yourself to learning property management, tenant psychology, maintenance costs, and leverage, all skills that compound into judgment about future investments. When you pay for education, books, courses, workshops, you're not buying information. Information is free. You're buying frameworks that make you notice opportunities everyone else walks past. But here's the trap most people fall into. They buy the appearance of these things instead of the exposure. They travel to resorts where they only meet other tourists. They buy real estate they can't afford and stress about every vacancy. They buy courses and never implement because they're collecting knowledge like trophies. The purchase doesn't matter, the exposure does. A $30 book that changes how you think about negotiation has more asymmetric upside than a $3,000 course you never finish. A $300 flight to a city where you crash with a friend and meet their entire social circle has more upside than a $3,000 resort vacation where you meet nobody. A $12,000 used car you own outright has more upside than a $40,000 car with payments because one frees your attention and the other consumes it.
Here's what all of this actually comes down to. Your 20s aren't about making perfect purchases. They're about understanding what your purchases are buying. Most people think money buys stuff, comfort, status, security. But money actually buys attention. Every dollar you don't spend on a recurring obligation is attention you get back to notice opportunities. Every dollar you invest is attention you're buying for your future self. Every skill you pay to learn is attention you can redirect toward higher value problems. The reason you feel like you're in financial quicksand isn't because you're bad with money. It's because you're spending money on things that consume attention, while the people pulling ahead are spending money on things that buy attention back. They're not smarter, they're not more disciplined, they just realized earlier that in a world where everyone's distracted, the person who can focus longest wins. Think about what's competing for your attention right now. That car payment you're stressed about, the job you hate but can't leave, the credit card balance you're afraid to look at, the Instagram feed showing you everyone else's highlight reel, the subscription services auto-charging your account, the maintenance on stuff you bought to impress people you don't like. Every single one of those is a tax on your attention.
Meanwhile, someone your age is driving a paid-off 2020 Civic, attention freed up, watching $18,000 compound tax-free in a Roth IRA, attention automated, learning video editing at night, attention invested, living with roommates in a cheaper neighborhood, attention preserved. In 10 years, you'll both be in your 30s. One of you will still be managing the same attention taxes. The other will own their attention completely. The difference isn't intelligence, it's not willpower, it's knowing what you're actually buying when you spend money. Your 20s will pass regardless. The only question is whether you'll spend them buying stuff that steals your attention or building a foundation that buys it back. Most people figure this out in their 40s. You're here now. That's the asymmetry. You don't have a money problem, you have an attention allocation problem. And the solution isn't a list of 7 things to buy. It's knowing what you're actually purchasing with every dollar you spend.
If this changed how you think about money, do me 2 favors. First, comment below. What's the biggest attention tax you're paying right now? Car payment? Subscription creep? Job you can't leave? Your answer might become the next video. Second, subscribe. I break down the psychology behind financial decisions everyone else treats as math problems every week. See you in the next one.